You're watching Channel 4. Now in Nicam Digital Stereo on both speakers, it's Jonathan, Ross.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show that in the new year resolves not to make any unnecessary jokes about sausages. Yes, it's 1991, and I've discovered something fascinating about this new year. Have a look at this. I've been doing some sums involving that, and you won't believe what I've discovered. If you take 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 1 equals 20, okay? And then you've got 19 plus 91 equals 110. Now, you add those together and you get 130, right? With me so far? Now, here's the big bit. And I can tell you're excited. 199 plus 1 equals 200. Take 130 from 200, you get 70. Isn't that the most incredible thing you've ever seen? I couldn't believe it. Fantastic. Anyway, how many years can you do that with? I don't know. Now then, everybody makes resolutions for the new year, and you know I'm no exception. I've already made my list. I checked it twice, I showed it to my mum, but in the space of 24 hours, I'm afraid I have to admit I've managed to break every one of my New Year's resolutions. I tried, I really did, but the pressure was too much. I'm not proud, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just human. And to show you just how human I am... OK, you're right not to believe me. Here I am, here are the 5 New Year resolutions that I made but failed to keep. And number 1, to quit fooling around in my Batman costume at the scene of major crimes. Number 2 was to use dream topping only as God intended it to be used. Number 3 was to stay out of my wife's clothes, except on special occasions. Number 4 was to think of John Major without being strangely reminded of Nana Mouskouri. And number 5, and I failed already, was to wash my hands after watching Coronation Street. I'm sorry. What can I say? I apologise, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And now it's time for men. I should have stopped at 4, shouldn't I? I should have stopped while... New Year's resolution, stop while you're ahead. Say hello to the band. It's Steve Naive and, of course, the Love Band. Thanks. Now, my first guest is one of those rare actors. Should I look at number 3? Should I? There you go. Resolution number 2, stick to the right camera. He's a rare actor who's managed to carve out a highly successful career both here and in the United States. In Britain, he's probably best remembered for his carry-on capers, but across the Atlantic, he's an award-winning Broadway star. He's not one of the Yorkshire Dales, nor was he ever mentioned in Mrs. Dale's diary, but he is possibly the most famous Dale this country has ever produced. Please welcome Mr. Jim Dale. You're looking so fit.
It's a drop, yeah.
You're looking good. Now, I know you came back in to do a special show that was on a couple of nights ago at the Palladium, but how long have you actually been away from Britain? You've been living in the States now?
Well, I keep coming back to see the children and the grandchildren, and it's been about 17 years since I've been over here for any length of time.
So you've actually been living in America for
Yeah, I've been living in New York.
Now, was that something you wanted to do, or did it just develop that way?
Oh, I suppose it's something that... you go over there to do a show and they ask you to stay, and then they offer you a big Broadway musical, and you think, well, maybe I'll be here for a week, or maybe a month, maybe a year.
Yeah, but I came back when that happened to me.
Yeah, but you didn't get you didn't get married to a New Yorker, did you?
No, I didn't.
So that was another good reason to stay. Always live where your wife is, and...
Helps keep the marriage together, doesn't it?
That's true, yeah.
But they were huge successes for you. Of course, Barnum was a huge triumph for you, and Me and My Girl,
Yeah.
of course. Why do you think they were so successful? Because they are actually a very traditional sort of entertainment, aren't they? They're very old-fashioned in a way.
Yeah, and that's why they're successful. You know, because we, the Brits, we've got a fantastic sense of humor. I don't know where it comes from. We're born with it. I'm sure we are. We can laugh at ourselves, which is the most important thing, and a lot of people can't. And so when you take our lovely, crude, simple humor to America, you think they must know these old jokes. Yeah. We greet the old jokes as old friends, because they are. And but over there, the old jokes were greeted as new friends. They'd never heard the corniest jokes that we boo at.
Yeah.
You know, the pantomime ones, they'd never heard all that stuff. Me and My Girl had all this in it, and the crowds loved it. And in my opinion, that's the sort of humor that we need. It has an innocence to it, and that's badly missing in America these days, I'll tell you. And that's why the crowds loved it.
A very basic sort of stuff.
Absolutely basic.
And you don't come a lot more basic than the Carry On movies, of course, which, of course, really, I suppose you made your name in this country.
That's right, yeah.
Now, how many of them did you actually appear in?
Oh, let's see. I think I did about 12, 13 out of the 50 or 60 they did. How many did they do?
They did about 50 odd, yeah. And that's quite a track record, because most of I know Barbara Windsor only did about 6 or 8, I think. She didn't do that many. Do you have a favourite out of those you appeared in?
Oh, they're all great. I mean, I have favourite jokes from lots of them, but... you know, they've been shown so often, everybody knows what the jokes are. So.
But now, why did you stop appearing in them? Why did you?
Well, I was doing about 4 plays in a week at the National Theatre, and I really couldn't squash in a carry-on film during the day. You know, you've only got so much energy going.
I don't know why not.
And, so I gave them up once I got to the National Theatre after about a year. Mm.
Yeah. Well. One of my favourites I'd like to show a clip of now, of course, was the classic Carry On Screaming.
You rotten devil, I knew you'd do this to
But you work with most of the sort of great Carry On performers. I know a lot of them actually were quite sad individuals in their personal lives, like Kenneth Williams and certainly Charles Hawtrey. I know. Is that just, is there truth in the cliche of the comedians always being the sad characters?
I think the sadness in any person's life comes out later when they've gone. What is acceptable to him as an individual, like Kenny Williams, loved to live on his own, and he loved the sparseness of his apartment. Peter Butterworth stayed one night with Kenneth, and Peter said, I walked into this room, there was nothing there but a single bed, one empty chair, and a naked light bulb. And I said to Ken, it's not much of a guest room. And Ken said, get out, this is my room. But you see, Kenneth lived like that, and he loved it. But that, to me, is very, very sad. But yes, there are many... Many of the old Carry-On team did have sad lives behind the makeup, but we didn't really involve each other in our own problems, because we were a great team. It was a fantastic team in those days, because everybody gave, and that was the secret of it.
So what was it like when you were filming? Was there a lot of kind of like hijinks going on? Were you competing for laughs and messing around?
Oh yes, we wasted so much film just breaking up in front of camera, because it wasn't tape, it was real film. It used to cost them a fortune. That's why they were very, very small budget films. They turned out to be very high budget films by the time they'd be made.
Because you could see they didn't spell them on the locations or on the costumes and stuff.
You know, we could find the Sahara Desert within 200 yards of Pinewood.
Let's have a look at clip one. This is a great, great movie. This is a clip from Carry On Screaming.
I wish I had my glasses.
Right. Is this him? Yes, Mr. Potter, window cleaner, 33 Hogsmere Road. Friend of the young lady that disappeared. Right. Get out your notebook, Slowbottom. I want every word of this taken down. As I understand it, you took this girl out to Holcombe Woods, right?
That's right, yes.
For what purpose, Mr. Potter?
Hey?
What did you take her out there for?
Well, I don't know. We just sort of felt like it.
Felt like it. Felt like what? I wouldn't like to say, Sergeant. I'm asking him. Well, Mr. Potter.
Well, we just felt like getting a bit of fresh air and that.
I see. Getting a bit of what? Fresh air and that. What's that? Same as the other. Well, Mr. Potter, you took her into the woods. How far did you go?
Oh, not very far, because I've only known her a year.
Don't put that down.
I've got the,
we don't get these in the States. I haven't seen that since the first time I saw it once it was released.
I've got the poster of that movie in my hallway, but that probably says more about me than the movie, doesn't it? There was talk a couple of years ago, I know, about them doing some more. They were planning some more Carry On films. Would you star in them again if you were approached?
I don't know. I think you use everything as a stepping stone in a career, and the carry-ons were such a marvelous stepping stone to me, and it's a lovely remembrance to look back on something that's now in the archives of the British Museum. That's lovely, wonderful. Let's not backtread anything. Let's not even, just go up and down. Let's step on. And no, I don't think I would be doing any more carry-ons, but I'd love to see some more made, because we need to keep this British humour alive and moving.
Nice and traditional. Would you come back here to work? I mean, is that something you plan to do?
I'd love it. I'd love it. It seems that every time there's some work offered in England, unfortunately, or fortunately, I've been in the middle of something big over in the States, and they just won't release you to come back to England. Yeah. No, if things could change, it would be lovely to work over here.
Well, it's been lovely seeing you on the show. I'm very pleased to meet you. A huge fan of yours.
Thanks, John.
Mr. Jim Dale, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Now, thank you very much. We're going to take a commercial break now. When we come back, we will be in an entirely different studio somewhere in Stockport, which means we only have 2 minutes and 40 seconds to get there, so let's go.